we're back. Another Sunday, we're back live with the political spectrum here on Our Black Media. I'm Robert Bryant, and we have Dante Thompson trying to get his camera to work. But Dante, how has it been? We've been away for a while.
We have been away for a while, but it is finally upon us. November 5th is just 2 days away. Come Wednesday, November 6th, hopefully everybody will wake up smiling and the sun shall rise.
Well, we do know that. We know the sun will rise, and whatever it may be, I do encourage everybody, like you said, if you have not voted early, go vote. I know that I in our first 10, but I voted early.
I did too.
Yeah, I did it like day 2.
Same here. I was not waiting in. I normally don't wait in lines at all to vote. I always vote early. That's just a preference for myself.
So. Yeah, that's it. And so, how long did it take you? I was in and out 5 minutes.
I agree. I mean, it was very quick, but I went early in the morning, like around 7 a.m., like as soon as they opened. So it wasn't too many people in line. Everyone there was very friendly, got me in, got me out, smooth.
Okay. Since we're in our first 10, I will say this. One of the things that caught me off guard, and I blame myself for not doing better research this time. Seems like every voting cycle there's a referendum or something like that on the ballot. They were kind of alarming because most of them were, in my opinion, gave benefits to certain populations and certain populations didn't gain from that. And so I don't know if you remember any one of those in particular, but yeah, those referendums were quite interesting to me.
No, I don't. And I agree with you. I should have done my research because some of the questions did throw me off guard. But I kind of blame myself on not doing a little deeper dive there.
I feel you. Well, while we're in the first 10, anything you're seeing out there that we need to bring up, or any hot button topics that are just lingering?
I mean,
we'll hop into our main topic.
You could count this entire week, man. It's just this entire week has been so crazy, from the stupid comedian from Madison Square Garden to Joe Biden, which I mean. The more he talks, he just makes the American people realize, like, oh, wait, that's the reason he's not running for president. Like, that's why she's running for president. And maybe it is time to do a new way forward and just go to Trump and not just her. And Trump saying the comments about Liz Cheney, which was taken out of context by the media, but it's the media. You have to take it for what it is.
Yeah. And I often tell people, you try to get the whole story, because a snippet of something will make you really not have full context. Context is everything. But going back to Nikki Haley, I was watching something this week. I can't remember what it was. And I believe they were talking about Trump. He made the biggest mistake by not putting Nikki Haley as his VP. I don't understand. The conversation was around why he can't let go of his pride and work with her. And I think she kind of made the conversation around, well, I've reached out, I've tried to help, I'm not going to bang my head against a brick wall, let him be himself. I mean, that, I think, we'll find out Wednesday, but if he is not successful Wednesday, I'm willing to say that would have been the biggest mistake he's made. Why not she came in very close as number 2 to you. Why not make her the VP candidate?
So I agree and I disagree. I do agree that Trump should have utilized Nikki Haley more than he is right now, which is he's not using her at all. I was one of the people who said that Nikki Haley should have been the vice president, because I think she would have been able to bring in a lot of independents and moderate Democrats.
Right.
However, after seeing JD Vance, especially at the debate, I can understand why Trump picked JD, so I'm not upset about that anymore. My only gripe with Trump and his campaign is the fact that Nikki Haley is not out there campaigning on his behalf. I think she would have been a very good asset, and I do agree that he needs to put his pride aside and have Nikki out there if if he really truly wants to win. But his pride is getting to the best of him, because if he does win and he used Nikki Haley, he doesn't want to say, "Well, I won because she helped me out." Like he wants to have that glory for himself. I did it all by myself.
Yeah, and I think that but that's kind of the thing that's gotten him in some hot water and some side eye moments, is this whole idea being it's about me. It's about me. And I, there's a pattern there and a theme that I wish, that he could step away from. But yeah, I agree. That's kind of interesting. You got a new look there, Clinton. How are you? Is that a filter?
No.
Oh my God. Are you okay? Did Trump come by your house? Or what better yet, did Kamala Harris stop by?
No, I have a pinched nerve. I've been
Oh my God.
I've been kind of out of it for the last 2.5 weeks.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I just got used to my left hand side. So
Oh my gosh.
kind of numb.
Wow. Wow. Well, we certainly hope you get better.
That's
Have you
why
been able to vote or?
I haven't shaved because I didn't want to cut myself.
No, I get it. I totally get it. Say no more. But have you had a chance to vote yet, or how's that looking?
I voted the first day. Yeah. October the 15th. I've been kind of laughing at the rustle for everyone to get their votes in. I thought, wow, you guys should have voted on the first day like me.
Right. I mean, or receive your absentee ballots. We were just talking about, this whole idea. I think I was telling Dante about Nikki Haley and how she's been underutilized, and we both agreed she may have been a better VP candidate. What's your thought about that? With her, I think she would have been not maybe a golden ticket, but I think she offers a lot that was a missed opportunity there.
I don't think so. I've actually been surprised. I've been surprised how well Mr. Vance has handled a lot of his interviews.
Exactly.
He's actually done quite well in his rebuttals. I did not expect that because I expected him to lose his cool.
Right.
He hasn't, which it has shocked me that he hasn't lost his cool. He's also delivered his rebuttals in a logical and practical way while remaining calm, no matter how much he's been antagonized. That impressed me. I have to admit, I didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know y'all are going to be upset in my prediction, and I might be wrong, but I think Harrison's going to win.
Well, you're not, there's a guy, I don't know if you all had a chance, but this guy's predicted, he's a professor somewhere, and he's predicted all but one, I think, for the last couple of decades, and he's been correct, and that's kind of the prediction there. One of the things I do want us to watch in a minute is the early voting thing, but before we hop into that, really quickly, Clinton, what was your thought about the comedian in Madison Square Garden?
Well, number one, they should have looked him up first because his whole shtick is insulting people. If you just, little research, you would have known that. I mean, this comedian, he is hired for a specific reason, to find the most offensive way to deliver a joke and to attack every minority and non-minority he can. He's an insult comic. You might not want to hire an insult comic for a rally. It's not very good optics.
Right.
For him to actually deliver what he's made a career on, you can't really fault him. That's what he does.
Right.
I fault the campaign people that selected him. I mean, if you're worried about backlash, don't hire an insult comic. Come on, use your brain.
Well, that was quite interesting. I mean, Dante, you haven't made a comment on that. What were your thoughts on the beautiful comedian?
I don't think it was beautiful at all. It was very offensive. And I agree with everything that Clint said. Like, who in the campaign was stupid enough to hire this man? I mean, a simple YouTube research will show that all of his acts, he's really insulting everybody. Like, that's all he do in his entire act. So why would you have him come out to be the opening act for a presidential rally? It makes no logical sense at all.
He's perfect for a roast.
Yeah,
right.
But that's it. Outside of a roast, you're not putting a comedy act, all right?
But you know what? Even the audience that was at Madison Square Garden didn't find it funny. Like, they all were like, "Whoa!" Like, whoa! Everybody kind of like, "Wait, we don't do this." Like, but I blame the campaign. I'm happy the campaign came back out quickly to distance themselves from the comedians' comments. But they have to take the L for that. But leave it to Joe Biden. He did want headlines the next day for him to make a comment, and then leave it to Trump to take the add steroids to it.
I want the two of them just to have a conversation for one last time, just for the shits and giggles.
I just. Like, Trump, were you waiting for somebody to say this? To how fast your team actually went to go get a dumpster truck painted white, put your logo on?
Well, I have to admit, Trump knows how to market something.
Right.
Right. Like,
and I'm sorry, but even though poor Joe Biden doesn't realize what he did, he gave Trump an golden nugget. And
he did.
He ran with it. I mean...
when we really look back on this presidential cycle, once people stop the I hate Trump movement, they will give him a lot of credit for how he was very politically savvy. I mean, from the being at the McDonald's thing, that was funny. I mean, nobody caught it, but he went to work.
He threw a lot of shade.
He went to work at McDonald's on Vice President Harris' birthday. I mean,
well, my mom is when me and went, well, this is a political stunt. No job.
Like, duh.
Why wouldn't you do what?
That's the whole point of the joke.
Of course, that's the whole point. I mean,
it's called I Want to Be Seen.
It's not like people actually think he walked into a McDonald's and they gave him a job. I mean, they're not. And then
last year.
Well, this one to me and went, and they vetted all the people before they came in the drive-thru. Well, of course they did.
Right.
And also make sure that he's not shot or anything. Of course they vetted everybody.
Right.
Clint, that's the main point right there. He literally was just shot at not too long ago.
Right.
They're gonna vet every single person that's gonna come through that drive-thru. They probably went through 4 screenings just to get to him.
Why would you not vet someone who's going to hear an ex-president? Of course you're going to vet them. Right. I mean,
it's called Secret Service sweeping the building. Like, come on, folks.
I mean, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone say. It's like, of course you're going to vet you.
Right.
They're not going to near an ex-president, especially one that just almost was assassinated.
Right.
They're not going to do that unless you.
I
love that. Oh, out there, all the people were vetted were probably Trump supporters. Yeah, they probably. But I don't think a non-Trump supporter would want to go through the vetting process just to get some fries from a person. It's like this. They should rename their network to the No Duh Network.
I tell you, this has been the most unbelievable cycle. I don't think one has been this entertaining in a long time.
Yeah.
But we're going to step away for a message and we'll be right back, y'all.
Hey there. Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
Back here in the United States, we have new numbers giving us an indication of how passionate Georgia voters are this election cycle. Georgia shattered early voting records with more than 50% of their active voting public submitting their ballots already. They are in, folks. And take a look at the Georgia voting map here. Really drill into this. 3 million people hit the polls as today marks the last day of in-person early voting in that state. So officials expect a wave of people at voting centers today. So let's go live to outside of one of those voting centers in Georgia right now, and CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston. Jared, the numbers really are astounding. What are you seeing there? We are seeing lines there behind you.
Reed, good afternoon. You are exactly right. These lines are very long here. We are in Cobb County. This is one of the metro Atlanta suburbs where we have also seen record turnout. As you said, we are at 52%. I just checked the numbers right before I came on here with you. 52% of active voters have voted already in this election, about 3.7 million people. Now, the Secretary of State's office says already today at about 10:30 Eastern time that 50,000 people had already casted ballots. And if we stay on that pace, Reed, officials believe that we could outpace the first day of early voting here in Georgia. Now, I talked to some of those voters as we were waiting to come up here with you, and everyone here is just excited to be able to get out and cast their vote early. You know, the line is long. Some people said that they had been waiting for 30, 45 minutes, even upwards of an hour, but they said that the line is moving quickly. And earlier this week, the Secretary of State's office did say that some pockets, like the one you see behind me, are having longer wait times, but the majority of polling locations, people are getting in and out within 15, 30.
All right, what's your reaction? And I've heard the numbers as well. I'm excited that the more people are engaged. I hope they are engaged for the right reasons. What are your thoughts on that, y'all?
My thoughts is this is a fantastic improvement. I mean, we need to engage like this in every election, even if it's just a local election. Another thing I'm proud of is the scrutiny. We have a lot more people keeping an diligent eye on not only the poll workers, but the Dominion machines and everything else. This is the way every election should be. We shouldn't just blindly trust any Dominion machine, any poll worker, or any process. We need to keep our critical thinking skills, scrutiny and investigation, diligent and alive in every election. And we need to participate in every election with the same type of theory that we're participating in this one. I'm extremely proud of the improvement.
I'm happy that everyone is coming out to vote early, make their voices heard. I mean, Georgia was already breaking numbers on the first and second day of early voting, which I think is a true testament to show that everyone who said back in 2021, when Georgia was going to pass their election integrity bill, that it was Jim Crow 2.0. That turned out to be false because more people in the state of Georgia is voting, and they have been voting since that bill has been passed. But I'm happy that everyone is coming out to vote, and I hope people continue this cycle, not just in the presidential election, but anytime that there is an election to make their voices to be heard.
And I also would like to add this. If you don't have ID, you can contact the Board of Elections They will come to your house if you're disabled or you're a senior citizen. They will make you an ID for free. It's already been paid for with your tax dollars. Please utilize the service. It's available to you if you're disabled or you're a senior citizen. They'll come with a hammer and everything. They will make you an ID. If you have to, they will assist you in the voting process, if not this election cycle, in the next one. So you do have services available that you already paid for. Please use them. Please.
Yeah, and then also, if you looked up Project 2025, which is over 900 pages, you can definitely go to Google search to find out how to make sure you're registered to vote and how you can get an ID in the state of Georgia, which is only a one-page document. So really, there is no excuses at this point.
Yeah, so don't let mobility issues be your reason for not getting a voter ID. Contact the Board of Elections. They will have someone show up at your house, trailer, wherever you live, and they will make you an ID on site.
Good information, because I didn't even know that. But as we, Dante, I know you had a hot topic this week too. But really quick, y'all, let's talk about this. I believe every single House seat is up, and a number of the Senate seats. This is going to become interesting because I don't know if I'll be right on this, but let's just say hypothetically, we're going to use hypotheticals. Wednesday morning, the House is retaken by the Democrats. The Senate holds 50-50. Tim Walz and Kamala win. What does that look like? I mean, what do you all think? What do you think about the House races and the Senate races?
I kind of like it when the executive branch and the entire Congress, not just the House, but the Senate as well, is divided. Because when it's divided, they have to work together with their opposing ideas. When it's uniformity, there's no opposition, there's no criticism, there's no challenge, and any idea is thrown right through the process without any type of vetting. Vetting, I can't pronounce it today. So I don't like it when one political party, even if it was libertarian, dominates everything. That makes me uneasy.
Right.
Dante?
Sorry. Based off the scenario that you say, Bobby, I mean, I think that there are some things. Well, first, they both, Kamala and Walz, will have to find some bit of moderate bone in their body if they want to work with the Republican Senate, because they are too far to the left. No matter what the media say, but they are too far to the left. I think some things would be able to get passed, but I don't know. I want to go back to something that you and Clint said earlier. So my prediction is I do think Trump is going to win. No surprise there, because I am a Republican and I did vote for Trump. So get that out the bag. I do think that Trump is going to win on Tuesday night. I think the momentum is behind him. And the reason why I think Trump is going to win is very simple. The Democrats and the media, they're trying to make this election about personality. How people feel about Donald Trump. And the way how people feel about Donald Trump is not the way how they feel about their bank account or their personal finances. Those are two different things. And a lot of people have separated their feeling towards Donald Trump and have thought about their own personal finances and the way how they were living when Trump was president and while he's not president. And this is not a 30-year gap, a 10-year gap. These are, 4 years ago, we can compare Donald Trump's presidency to what we're living in right now. And that's what people are looking at. And that's what this election comes down to. And that when people go in that booth, they're going to think about the economy. They're not going to be thinking about Donald Trump's stupid tweets. They're not going to be thinking about something that the media taken out of context just to give Donald Trump headline news. They're not going to be thinking about any of those things. They're not.
Well, you're talking about practicality on that. The reason I think Harrison will win, she has Hollywood behind her. She has the music industry behind her. She has the military industrial complex behind her. She has the pharmaceutical companies behind her. She has big tech behind her. She's got too many power players behind her, supporting her. Donald Trump, yeah, he's got money, but he doesn't have that entire structure behind him. And I'm sorry, that's a big advantage.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a big advantage. It's a big advantage if you have a good candidate. She's a flawed candidate. No matter how many people want to flip the script on it, she was a flawed candidate before June 27th when everybody was saying it.
Well,
and she's a flawed candidate after June 27th when she became the nominee. She's been the same type person from the very beginning. Even the only people that have switched the tunes is the Democrats in the media. Everybody been saying the same thing about her ever since she became the vice president, that she was going to be a drag on Biden. They even thought about switching her out for Gavin Newsom or somebody else. So, I mean, she was already terrible. And the fact that even when they didn't want her to speak in front of the media, and we know why, she says the same stuff over and over and over again. One thing about Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, he's going to say something that's on the top of his mind. I mean, what's crazy is I'm pretty sure Kamala's campaign probably want her to be a little bit more authentic, but she's sticking to the script. Trump's campaign probably want him to stick to the script, but he's too authentic. So
you're implying that all this is dependent on good candidate. If that were true, Biden wouldn't have won. He's got dementia, and they managed. If they could give a guy with dementia, I'm pretty sure they could get Kamala Harris elected president. I mean, at this point, the machine runs with such efficiency. They can get a monkey elected president.
I believe that.
But I have to agree with you because like the amount of money and the glam up from Hollywood, it was just so. I mean, it's almost like it was a movie script in front of all of our eyes, and nobody actually. I mean, the people fell in love with it so immediately, like, oh my God, Jesus just anointed her to come save us from this evil Donald Trump. Like,
well, can I just, I think, Dante, one thing, and Clinton, I think Clinton was right. You got these big factors, but the one thing I'm disappointed in from both sides, but when you add all of those power players, but you got the thing called fear. And both sides use fear very well.
Oh, yeah, they do.
By not being honest and not like, and I'll use this tariff thing. I'm not an expert on tariffs and all of that. But the one thing about the tariffs and, he's this and y'all see, oh my God, y'all look, he did what the other politicians do and got charged for it. He got caught for it, but everybody does it in New York, but he got caught for it. Now he's bad. So all of this fear and all of that, I think is gonna play a hand in this as well.
I do agree on that. I wish this election cycle was more policy driven and not personality driven, because whilst people they get alarmed when they hear the word tariffs, I mean, we actually have tariffs on Germany right now. They have tariffs on us. There are some European countries that we have tariffs on. They have tariffs on us. I mean, it's not uncommon. And there was tariffs that Trump slapped on China that the Biden administration has still in effect today. So it's not like it's a bad thing. I do think Trump has, and this is why a lot of people do like his business mindset, that things do need to become put at a level playing field when you have to deal with China, because China is not doing that. So he is throwing some wild, ridiculous number out there about 200, 400% tariff. That's probably not going to be that high. I'm pretty sure it's going to be lower than that once he finds some way to get them to come to the negotiation table. But it's not something uncommon, but it is to put the American people or just the American society at an even playing field with China, who has been taking advantage of the world economy. And the American people really need to stop this fighting inward and look outward to see what's really going on in the world and what's rising in the East, and their advance to become the leader in artificial intelligence, which we all are starting to rely on computers a lot more. So we need to really start focusing on the future and stop this infighting and worry about personalities.
It's funny you say that, y'all. Let me play this and then get your reaction.
BRICS Pay, touted as an alternative to the US dollar, has the potential to revolutionize global finance by allowing BRICS nations to make cross-border payments more efficiently using their own currencies. But what exactly is BRICS Pay, and why is it so significant? Well, BRICS Pay is a proposed decentralized payment system developed by BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, recently expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE. It aims to enable cross-border transactions in local currencies without depending on the US dollar or traditional Western-led payment system like the SWIFT. Geopolitical tensions, particularly Western sanctions on countries like Russia, have accelerated the push for a new payment system. After the invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Russia was cut off from international capital markets and had its dollar and euro reserves frozen. This financial isolation led Russia to call for an alternative to the current global financial system, dominated by institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, which they argue favor Western interests.
All right, I won't keep one over BRICS. So we talk about these tariffs and all this other stuff. What we're learning is that these countries are like, screw you, America, F your tariffs and F your sanctions. I'll go do what I want to do with these other friends over here. So this thing is getting real interesting. You know what I'm saying? So Clinton, I know you had a comment before we went to that, but this thing is getting real.
Well, this is normal. I mean, when you have your balls squeezed, of course you're going to look for relief. I mean, of course these countries are trying to make an alternative currency. They're being squeezed, and it hurts. As far as tariffs go, it depends on the country, and it depends on the time frame and the circumstances. Tariffs sometimes work, and they sometimes hurt. Depends on the circumstances. I think with China, I think it can help us. I think with Russia, I think it can help us at this point in time. I mean, look at them. They're scrambling to make an alternative currency because they're suffering. That is a desperate act of a desperate country trying not to suffer the consequences of their own actions. If they really want to pull back the consequences of their actions, they'll wheel and deal with us. And if we have someone that's willing to meet them at the negotiation table, they'll backtrack on this alternative currency if they can get a better deal with us. What do you think, Dante?
So one, I would say this is nothing new. There have been for some time a lot of countries trying to come together to form an alliance to compete against the dollar. Muammar Gaddafi was one of them, but we saw what happened to him in the end, off with his head, literally. But it's not uncommon. So, again, we need to really start to pay attention to what's going on in this world. Because once they cripple the dollar, I mean, we as a country, we ultimately will be weak, and our dollar isn't as strong as it once was. It doesn't have that same value anymore. But like Clint said, hopefully whoever becomes president, they can negotiate with these people to get them to cool down waters. As much as people used to hate Trump, say that he has a good relationship with Putin, I mean, honestly, I don't see anything wrong with him having a good relationship with Putin. Don't you want him to have a good relationship with the other person who has the most nuclear weapons on the planet? Like, I don't.
No, I want all of the weapons shot at me. What do you mean?
We need to make good relations with our enemies so we can bring them over not to be our enemies. We don't need to keep antagonizing people that we know are unstable, who are more likely. Also, another thing, I want to switch gears on you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
It looks like Stacey Abrams, despite the large voter turnout, is still claiming voter suppression. Okay. Really?
No.
I mean,
You know what?
What?
I am 37 years old, and since I have been voting, the Democrats' playbook, I kid you not, every election cycle is always scream voter suppression.
you
If
should.
they win, voter suppression. If they lose, voter suppression.
I
If
think,
it's
hold on, it's just Stacey Abrams, and I'm only hearing this from her.
like,
Why is she still the poster child of the Democratic Party of Georgia? I would never know.
I don't know either.
I would much rather we go and get an eagle to be the mascot, because Stacey, why is a loser the face of the DPG?
well,
Why-
wait.
I'm gonna
In all fairness, I think that will be an insult to an ego.
Ah!
To be compared to the Georgia Democratic Party.
No, I don't know why they keep giving her airtime. I don't think this is the Democrat talking point. I think it's her point. She can't take the fact that she didn't win.
And she was wrong. And you know what? The honestly, anyone who's upset at Donald Trump not conceding, I need you to be upset at Stacey Abrams too, because she has yet to do it.
Yeah.
Like, she is the godmother of this style.
My thing is this.
And so what if someone doesn't
hold on.
concede to an
My
election?
thing
We
is
know
this.
they lost because they're not in power. Like, who cares?
Well, here's the thing. This is, first of all, and I'm a member of the DPG. First of all, let's look at the head of the DPG, who only wants to be in the limelight because you couldn't walk in John Lewis's shoes. And what has the DPG done to even reclaim really critical seats in the state? Nothing. I mean, I'm going to say this much. If Patty Hewitt doesn't win and a number of Democrats don't win across the state, then the DPG is still as a failure as it was when Stacey Abrams lost the first time. She had an opportunity when Brian Kemp was Secretary of State, and he was the referee, the player, and the goalpost. And when she let that go, I'm like, how naive can you, like, what are you trying to prove here, Spelman? I don't get it. But anywho, she lost the opportunity. But then to come out and then play this whole elitist role last time, get mollywopped by Brian Kemp, have a seat. Let Ossoff, let maybe, matter of fact, Jeff Duncan. There we go. Let Jeff Duncan be the face of the party.
I don't know why. I mean, for some reason, I don't think Miss Abrams is going to go away. I think she will become a burden to the Democrat Party. She doesn't think long term. She can only live in the short term, and that's a big hindrance. I mean, I lost the election.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit there and keep going, it was low voter turnout. People did not vote for me.
Right.
I think they're regretting it, but still, that was their choice.
Right.
And I'm glad they voted. But I can't go online every 5 seconds and go, well, they miscounted the vote. They can miscount the vote, so they vote for me. And all Miss Abrams is doing is showing that she lives in dream world, where in her alternate reality, we just all held a gun to people's head and told them, you better not vote. You better not vote.
But you know what? That's the real suppression right there, is falsely telling people that their rights is being taken away when that's not even true. A simple Google search will easily tell people how they can vote, how they can make sure they're up to date and everything, what they have to do. I mean, it's a simple 1, 2, 3 step. But in regards to Jeff Duncan, Bobby, on behalf of the Georgia Republican Party, y'all can have him.
Why are y'all mad with Jeff Duncan?
To be honest with you, for any of those Republicans that are voting for Harris, it is a free country. They are more than welcome to make that their choice. I think they should stay on the Democratic Party side after this election cycle. If they want to come back on the red team, if they want to run for office, they're going to have a lot of explaining to do. But we shall see. I really don't understand why a lot of the Republicans are supporting Vice President Harris. I think it's more so some of it is Donald Trump's personality. Some of it's because he fired some of these people, and some of it is because they just don't like his the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth.
I think all things considered, really and honestly, you got to really sit back and say, and be analytical about this, Dante. I think his behavior in some aspects has got to be questioned. And I think certain people with certain stature and certain places in life, your behavior, and I'll give you a great example. Dante knows this. When we ran for city council in Savannah, they had this whole bullshit about dignity and decorum. And if you weren't seen as a person who had dignity and decorum, you were automatically cut off. People were not listening to you. But we're screaming, hey, you're going to be paying more taxes. You're going to, property tax. We were screaming some really loud things. But because our behavior may have not met a standard, people already cut us out. And so I think a lot of it, some of it is behavior. I'm not a person that goes off of behavior, honestly. My thing is keep it real, and I think he does a good job of keeping it real. But some people are so quote unquote high and mighty they can't take that.
Well, a lot of it is also identity politics.
Yeah,
people want to vote for someone they think that's had a hard time in life like them. They're not looking at policies or ideas. And because Harris is a minority like us, people think that she's more likely to be able to identify with them. And they're not looking at policies. Whereas Trump is a heterosexual, normal white man saying the most outlandish things in the world,
right.
But they're not looking at policies. We need to stop looking at appearance. We need to stop looking at identity. We need to start looking at ideas and policies and voting on the ideas that we think will solve our problems. Ignore the color of the flesh. Ignore whether they're crippled or normal. Ignore their religion. Ignore their sexuality. Look at what they're claiming that they want to do and ask yourself, will that idea fix my problem? And base your vote on that. Yeah. And we don't do that. We vote identity. Oh, this person's a lot like me. I'm going to vote for them. Right. That's the wrong reason to vote. Yep. But outside of that, whether you vote for Harris or Trump, I'm proud of the voter turnout. Yeah. I'm extremely proud of the voter turnout. I like to say thank you to the people in Georgia for actually showing up and making their voice heard. Number two, thanks to all the people watching the poll watchers, the Dominion machines, and scrutinizing them. Thanks to everything that's being done. This is the way an election is supposed to operate in our state. And I hope it continues.
Yeah. Well, and point of clarification for our Black media, Bobby, I am fully aware that Trump behavior is terrible sometimes. He's a complete asshole. I'm fully aware of that. Like there are moments where even my mouth just drops. I mean, the Madison Square Garden thing, that could have been a slam dunk, easy political cleanup. Only thing Trump had to do was just apologize the next day, but he could not get himself to simply utter the words, "I'm sorry. I don't know why that comedian was there. It wasn't the right place for him to do that. Let's focus back on policy." He doesn't know how to do that. And I get mad at him for not doing these things because, Clint, just to piggyback off of what you said, when you look at policy, like both of these people on paper, the country's more favoring, I'm not going to say which side, but they're more favoring one side than the other when you look at policy. Yeah, but now, you talk about character, then, Vice President Harris, she has that.
Not everyone can have the character of Barack Obama. He was dignified. He's gone. I'm sorry.
Hey, Reagan wasn't bad, or Kennedy.
Well, no, Reagan was, I'm trying to talk about somebody recent, all right? Barack Obama had dignity, but that's gone. We need to forget that, all right? And Trump has been raised to never admit defeat, so he doesn't believe in apologies. Getting an apology out of somebody like Trump It's like trying to get blood out of a turnip. I'm sorry.
And we haven't had a president after Trump anyway, so I mean, we're about to get a new.
Oh my God, y'all! Let me play this really quick. I think I saw this earlier today, and I said we've got to play this. This is, as we close out today. We're going to go to a message, and I'm going to play a clip when we come back. But it talks about who has the pathway to a win on Tuesday night. So y'all hold tight.
Join us for an unforgettable Caribbean cruise. Attention, everyone. Are you ready for a summer escape? Our Black Media Network invites you to an incredible Caribbean cruise from June 16th to June 20th, 2025. Whether you're bringing your partner or connecting with family and friends, this is the perfect getaway. Here's what you can look forward to. Monday, we set sail for the Port Carnival, Orlando, Florida. The adventure begins. Tuesday, enjoy a fun day at the sea. Relax and take part in exciting onboard activity. Wednesday, discover the beauty of Grand Turk. Immerse yourself in the island of culture and scenery. Thursday, another fun day at the sea. More time to mingle with you and your boo. Friday, explore the stunning shores of the Bahamas. Experience paradise firsthand. And last but not least, Saturday, we return to the Port Carnival, bringing back cherished memories. This cruise is your chance to engage with your favorite show host, your spouse, and make valuable connections and ignite meaningful conversations. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. For more information, reach out to our staff or any show host and email at getgoingtravelagency@gmail.com. Once again, that's getgoingtravelagency@gmail.com. Secure your spot today and get ready for a remarkable summer experience. You can learn more information at ourblackmedia.com.
We want to bring in our friend Chuck Todd, NBC's chief political analyst, who is suiting up for what is effectively your Super Bowl. Green Bay Packers, by the way, looking good.
Well, we'll get there. Let's say big game this week.
We do. We got a big game for a lot of Americans coming up on Tuesday. So many folks already voting early, 60 million plus right now. More women, it turns out, than men in a lot of occasions. What does that behavior, this new sort of pattern, tell us?
I'm a little hesitant to even read too much into it. And why? 2020 was such a unique year with COVID, and people voted in so many different ways. Plus, you had the politicizing of how you vote was more so in 2020. Here's what I can tell you. More Democrats are going to vote on Election Day than they did in 2020, and more Republicans are voting early than they did in 2020. But if you try to read too many this is apples and blueberries. I mean, it's all fruit, but I'm just not sure there's anything to read into it.
Will we know the answer sooner, though?
But I will say this, that we will. I do think more people voting early means we should get more of the vote quicker, if you will. And I think in that sense, I'll give you a scenario where we won't find out for a long time. But if we're waiting at the East Coast states, we should know by Wednesday morning.
Okay,
I really believe that.
Let's lay out the path. So that magic number of 270. Let's start with the vice president. How does she get there?
The simplest path for her is just winning these 3 blue wall states. Gets her right to 270. We're assuming she gets the Omaha district there. This means she doesn't have to win a single state in the Sun Belt. She could lose all 4 of those other states. She sits at 270. If he wins everything else, it would put him 2 electoral votes short. So that's the simplest path. But the tricky thing is, what happens if she loses Pennsylvania? So let's go ahead and give her those 2. But she loses Pennsylvania. We give that to President Trump. If he wins Georgia, which a lot of analysts believe, he's only 1 North Carolina away, and then he's done. This is his simplest path. He just wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Again, we don't even have to wait for these West Coast counts, which will take a week to find out who's president.
So if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, she's got to pick up Nevada or
So if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, she's got to win either North Carolina or Georgia. Because from there, look where we have her. Then she just needs one other these West Coast states. So I've been telling people this. North Carolina and Pennsylvania, if one of them wins them both, game over. There's really no realistic path. But if they split it, that's when we know it could be along that, especially if they split the way I said. So she wins North Carolina. We could be living here in Nevada, waiting and waiting and waiting. And if you remember, Nevada will take a week to count all their votes.
Well, because they go 4 days after.
And you'll have more ballots coming in.
Yeah.
And then you're really going to be used a lot on air because this is going to be lawyers upon lawyers litigating which ballots can get fixed or cured is the language you'll start to see, those provisional ballots. So the nightmare scenario where we're just waiting for weeks, sort of the Florida of 2000, is this one where she wins either North Carolina or Georgia and he wins Pennsylvania, because then it makes these two states, probably Nevada, but either one of them, with their very long mail-in process that we've been waiting for ballots, we'll be waiting here for a week.
We're playing in the land of hypotheticals right now, but there is one scenario that you talk about where this thing really turns into a little bit of madness. 269 electoral votes each. How does that happen, and what happens then?
Well, the simplest way it would happen is if Donald Trump won that Nebraska electoral vote. See here, you've got her winning all the blue wall states and winning all those Sunbelt states. But if he wins that one Omaha district, we are sitting at this 269.
And then I got to brush off my knowledge of the 12th Amendment.
We go to the House, and it is one vote per congressional district. So, for instance, if this is a swing, Alaska has one member of Congress, one member of the House. Right now, it's a Democratic member of the House. It is one of the closest House races in the country. We'll be waiting for that result. So if we're sitting in a 269 tie, we're going to be wondering, because Mary Patola's one vote will determine whether she votes for it's a Democratic delegation or Republican delegation. It is one vote. California will have one vote. Alaska will have one vote.
Wow.
That's I guess that would be the triple nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
If we do this, by the way, this is a flaw.
Incredibly
that
rare.
Should be fixed in the Constitution.
Yeah, I think
it's razor thin, guys. But what are your thoughts as we close out today?
I think Harris is more likely to win Georgia than North Carolina when it comes to votes. And I think no matter who wins, whether it's Harris or Trump, I think there's going to be possibly a lot of pandemonium after everything's counted. And I'm afraid there might be violence, no matter who wins. And I don't think the other side will deal with it very well. That's number one. Number two, I think at some point the 14th Amendment is going to be brought up. They've been pushing for the insurrection to be legitimized for a reason, so they can enact the 14th Amendment. So if Trump wins, they can invalidate it and disqualify him. And that will bring up more violence. So no matter how this ends, whether Trump wins or Harris wins, we're going to have a lot of issues after all the ballots are counted.
Okay, Dante, and then we're going to close on that.
So again, I think Trump is going to win the presidency. I do think he's going to carry the state of Georgia. I know Brian Kemp and Trump had a rocky start because of Trump, but I think with Brian Kemp's ground game, that will get Trump over the finish line. When we talk about North Carolina, I think Republicans, they already lost that governor's seat. But when people are voting for the top of the ticket, Donald Trump, I do think he will be able to carry that state again. In regards to the blue wall states, out of the three, I think Trump will carry either Pennsylvania or Michigan. But I think he has a better path to 270 than Vice President Harris. I'm not going to be like some people on conservative outlets who think it's going to be a landslide election. I don't think it's going to be a landslide. I think it's going to come down to the battleground states, but I do think he's going to pick up majority of the ones to win the Electoral College. Donald Trump is trying to go for the popular vote. I think that's a long shot. I don't think he's going to win the popular vote, but I do think he has a path to 270, more pathways than she does.
All right. Well, guys, I think we should be back next week. We're going to talk about the day after or the Sunday after. All right. But we'll see. We'll see. So we'll close out for today. Y'all have a great week. If you haven't voted, make sure you're in line Tuesday. And remember, your employer is obligated to give you time to go vote, maybe a lunch break or an extended lunch break, but make sure you get it done. See y'all next Sunday.
Remember, your vote counts.
That's it.
like this.